welcome to Seminole Church. I'm going to go ahead and invite you to stand up as we begin this service off with some worship together.
The cross is my beginning, the line run in the sand, the end of all my striving. Now I am born again. There Jesus was forsaken, so I will never be. His grace is my salvation, the gift of God, the work of Calvary. It is done, it is finished, Christ has won, He is risen, grace is here, love has triumphed over death forever. The cross needs no addition, His mercy is complete. His love is not in question. The Son of God has spoken over me. It is done. It is finished. Christ has won. He is risen. Grace is here. Love has triumphed over death forever. Sing strongholds. Strongholds bowing to the Savior, resurrection power over every circumstance. His word stands final and forever. It will not be shaken. He alone has won it all. Strongholds bowing to the Savior, resurrection power over every circumstance. His word stands final and forever. It will not be shaken. He alone has won it all. It is done. It is finished. Christ has won. He is risen. Grace is here. Love has triumphed over death forever. It is done. It is finished. Mercy won. I'm forgiven. Sing His name. He is worthy of our praise. Jesus. He is worthy. He is worthy of our praise. You alone
that you're here worshiping with us this morning, go ahead and take a moment just to say hello to those around you. Get to know the people that you go to church with, and then I encourage you to connect with them again after service. And in just a minute, we're going to go ahead and continue to worship.
Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won, for you have never failed me yet. Your promise still stands, great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Lead me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You'll never fail. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I see you do it again. I've seen you move the mountains, and I believe I see you do it again. You made a way when there was no way, and I believe I see you do it again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. You never failed me yet. I never will forget. You never failed me yet. I never will forget.
This next song that we're doing is a new one, and it's actually written by the same worship leader, Mac Brock, as the last song that we just sang. And it has a similar theme, and that's God's faithfulness. That he has always been faithful and that he will always be faithful. And just before we go into this new song, I wanted to read out of Lamentations. It says, "The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning." I love that verse. It's so true. And this song has a lot of those words in it. So let's go ahead and declare that back to God, this truth together.
My life is built on your faithfulness. My hope is held in your promises. I take each step with your confidence, as I am yours. I am yours. And you never fail. You never will. I'll trust your name for greater things. You will come through. You always do. I'll trust your name for greater things. You cleared the way in the wilderness. You brought me back from my brokenness. You took my shame, you buried it. What you did, I won't forget. Sing it out. And you never fail. You never will. I'll trust your name for greater things. You will come through. You always do. I'll trust your name for greater things. I will not fear, for you are with me. I'll see this fight from the victory. No power of hell will stand against me. 'Cause I've seen this fight from the victory. Whoa, I will not fear, for you are with me. And I'll see this fight from the victory. No power of hell will stand against me. 'Cause I've seen this fight from the victory. And you never fail, you never will. I'll trust your name for greater things. You will come through, you always do. I'll trust your name for greater things. You never fail, you never will. I'll trust your name for greater things. You will come through, you always do. I'll trust your name for greater things. Greater things. Let's sing about his worthiness. Worthy of every song we could ever sing. Worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. And Jesus, the only one I could ever see. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy and holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your and lead me in your love to those around me. You're worthy. Worthy of every song we could ever sing. You're worthy of all the praise we could ever bring. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Jesus. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the name above could ever see. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken.
Let's pray together. Father, I just pray that we would not be shaken like we just sang about. That we would so reflect Jesus, maybe in our workplace or on our campuses or wherever we go when we leave this place, that we would so reflect him that just in our character and our love for other people, that it would just be so apparent, that there would be no denying who we serve. We love you so much. Thank you for loving us, for meeting us where we were at. It's in your precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Good morning. How's everybody? Doing well? That good, huh? Everybody's good? Good. Glad you're here this morning. My name is Rich. I'm one of the pastors here. Just want to say welcome to Seminole Community Church. Especially if you're a first-time guest, just an extra special welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. Pastor Jerry, our lead pastor, is away. He and his wife Nancy have gone out west. Not really sure exactly what they're doing out west, but whatever you do when you go out west, enjoy drier air, that kind of thing. Maybe try to see what it's like to be a cowboy. I don't know what he's doing, but cooler weather. Yeah, he's having a good time, so I'm glad that he got to get away. It's been a little while for him, so that's awesome. So just here going to do some announcements, and again, just want to welcome you. Glad that you're here. Just if you, hopefully, on the way in, you grabbed a program, and that program has a lot of information. The inside of that program has an outline. That will be for you when, during the message, you can take notes if you're a note taker, so that's there for you. But I just want to bring your attention to that program for just a couple things. Matt, could you try to get some of that ringing? There we go. Sounds a little better. There, that's better. Good. Thank you. The first thing is a name tag. And on that, if you could put your name and put your name tag on you somewhere, that would be great. I'm terrible with names. I just admit it. I try really hard. So what helps me is if your name is right there and I can put a name with a face, I will get it. I'll get your name. So just help me out with that. That would be awesome. We're a friendly church and we'd like to get to know you by your name. So if you could do that, that would be great. Another thing you'll see on your program is a communication card. Again, if you're a first-time guest, this is a safe thing for you to do. It's just you're registering your attendance with us, and then we can send you information that's going on in the life of the church, that kind of thing. You can kind of tell us, how did you hear about Seminole Church? That's helpful for us as well. So you'll see that there. And on the back side, there's a place for prayer requests. Our staff and elders pray every week for the prayer requests. And if you could put some praise on there with the things that God's done in your life, that would be awesome. We can share that with you. So that is there for you. And we have an offering at the end of the service. You can place that in the offering plate as it comes by, and then we'll be sure to be praying for you. So we have a lot of announcements, a lot of things going on. Hopefully you had a flyer on the inside and it didn't slip out and fall on the floor. If it did, it's annoying. Sorry about that. But it's the only way we could get that in there. But we have our one-night classes that are starting back up September 11th on Wednesday nights. And the thing about our Wednesday night is when we have all of our students and our kids from elementary all the way up through high school, and we run anywhere from 70 to 100 students, kids on campus on a Wednesday night. It's mayhem if you ever come here. It's fun, but it's a little. I'm the children's pastor, so I get loads of fun with those kids. We have a lot of fun kids. It's a blast. So what we're asking is if you have a child that's in one of those ministries. And you would like to take one of these classes, Wednesday night would be great for you to come and do that. But you can see they're filling up fast. So you'll want to sign up for those. But on Tuesday night, if you don't have any kids that come to the Wednesday night program, we'd love for you to possibly move to the Tuesday night. You can take some of these same classes, but on Tuesday night instead. So you don't have to worry about bringing your kid here. You can come on Tuesday. And that kind of opens up space for everybody. So all those are on the list you'll see. How's Your Soul has already filled up. The Gospel of Mark has filled up. We've added one called Slaying the Giants in Your Life, which looks to be a great study. You'll see on Tuesday night, we have Starting Point, Real God, How's Your Soul is Full, Love Leads, and then Nonprofit's Guide to End Times. You'll see that on Tuesday night. So those are there for you to look at. Starting Point and Real God, we have videos for those. I know sometimes if you just look at this, if you're like me, it's like visually, you want to see what it's all about. Starting Point is a great study. So I have a video for you to check out. You can look at Starting Point. Maybe. There we go.
We all have questions about spiritual matters. Questions about God, Jesus, the Bible.
But who can we ask?
Most of the time, we don't stop to talk about those things.
But we all think about them at some point.
Your questions about the Christian faith weren't developed in an instant.
And you deserve more than a quick one-sided answer.
You have a story that led you here.
Maybe an answer isn't even what you need.
It's why we created a place where we can talk about it together.
Doesn't matter where you stand. Doesn't matter where you're from. We just want to help you take the next step. And it starts with a conversation. Starting Point.
And that's really what Starting Point is. It's a conversation. I've led Starting Point a few times. I've been a part of Starting Point, and there's like no question that's off the table. So it's really good for people who are kind of searching this whole Christian thing out. You know, what is this all about? It's a great place because then you can put all your questions out there. It's just a discussion. You talk about those things. If you've been a Christian for a while, but maybe you've kind of been off doing other things and really haven't been living out your faith as well, maybe this is a good place for you to reconnect and kind of see that. And even if you're a strong Christian, following after God every single day, it's a good class. It will really help build your faith going through this Starting Point. And then the other one is Real God, the Real God. I'll let you check this one out.
There's a deep sense of unease in our rapidly changing world. We all know something has been lost, but we don't know why or where it all leads. Pop culture tells us it's all about me and that we should worship our own creations rather than the Creator. In politics, the end justifies the means. In relationships, love means self-satisfaction. In life, status and appearance are what count. In the church, confusion replaces clarity and conviction. Our faulty and distorted view of God is at the root of all our problems. But what if we view God differently? What if we saw Him the way He longed for us to see Him? We can worship a God who is holy, wise, and just, one whose faithfulness and goodness are matched by His power and sovereignty over all things. This is a God who can deliver us from evil and transform lives. This is a God worth worshiping. The way back, the path of hope starts with knowing God for who He really is. We need to know the real God.
Yeah, I love that. How He longs for you to see Him. So if that looks interesting to you, sign up for that. You'll see on that same communication card, there are places to sign up for all of those. One other thing I needed to let you know with that is Pastor Josh was telling me he leads the fantasy football. It is full, but he will put you on a wait list if that's something that you're interested in being part of, the fantasy football that they do. So lots of stuff going on. Take this, look at it, and you can see everything that's going on. But this morning, you have your outline there, and we have Dr. Steve Green. We have the pleasure of Dr. Steve Green sharing the message this morning. Dr. Steve, he's a mentor. He's a friend to myself and to Pastor Jerry. He does a lot of things around here. He leads our Experiencing God class when we have that. And he's also written and leads Love Leads in the Home as a study here for our church. So he's really involved, does a lot of things. And I don't think I mentioned it last time, Dr. Steve, but I do believe you're a Saints fan? Perhaps. Still a little upset from last year's bad call? Quite upset from that. So maybe you can relate to Dr. Steve. So Dr. Steve, if you want to come on up here. There's a place in here to take notes. I would encourage you to take lots and lots of notes. You may have a little feedback as he comes up, but we'll be good. Take lots and lots of notes. He has great things to share. We're continuing in our series, Unshakable, but Dr. Steve is taking it from the perspective of what does that look like when we're at work? How do we live out our faith when we're at work? And I don't think we could have any other better expert than you to do that for us. So thank you so much. Glad you're here.
Bless you. Good morning, everyone. How are you? You ready to study the Word? Yes. I want to say hi to my friend Linda. She's back from surgery, literally back surgery, and almost pain-free. Is that right? So we need to do something with my mic, but while they're working on that, I'm going to keep yapping because that's what you came here to hear. Maybe not me, but surprise. I've pastored a long time, I've led a long time, and I want to share a little bit about, because I come at pastoring in a different way. I'm in the marketplace. I've been a business leader, a dean of a college of business, a college professor for a long time, I've consulted, I've done a lot of things that I want to try to share with you in how we take God to work. At Work with God is a Bible study that I teach, but more than that, it's a devotion. It's a podcast that I have up. I've been doing it for 5 years. It's up. You can find it easily on our network. You want to put that slide up, guys? I guess it's so you can at least see what it looks like when you go looking for it. What I try to do in this podcast is make it relevant to how we work. That the message, we've got to take God to work with us every day. We've got to take him with us not as a duty, but as something that we want to do. That as I walk in the front door, can't turn it off, can you? That's okay. Listen, you should have been here last service. We're just getting started. It's okay. Listen, it's just a podcast. I've got other podcasts up on the network, but if you're looking for more encouragement for going to work, that's it. I want to put one more commercial in for Love Leads. We have a few openings on Tuesday night. I taught it Wednesday night last year. It is basically a marriage and family class, but I come at it from the idea of developing a productive home. But I always believe that everyone can use more talk about how to do marriage better. Not that we've all got it fixed or that we're all broken, but that we've got that opportunity to get God involved in our home more. So take God home with you, take God to the football game with you, take him to the golf course with you. At Work with God is just a location in which we spend our time. It's where we are. We do what we've been called to do, what we've been gifted to do, to make a living, to do what God wants us to do. So it would make sense that God would be at work with us. But as we look at our behavior sometimes at work, perhaps as we look around us in the workplace, we don't see as much spiritual living as we would hope to see at church. What I want to be, and I think you do too, is I want to try to be the same person wherever I go. I learned that a lot from my students at Oral Roberts University. They taught me very clearly what it means to live a transparent life, because they will examine your life for you. They'll tell you if you're being real. And if they catch you not being real, they just reject you. They don't want anything to do with you. And that's a group we might call millennials. I don't like labels. They're 20s and 30s. But they don't accept the fact that people can come up on a platform and be different than they see them every day in life. They want to hear from people who are struggling, that are real, that are trying to get to that place where God's with them all the time, that we're always in that state of worship, state of praise, a place where we hear from God to give us our leadership for the day. Wouldn't that be great if we could live it at work? And I think that's what this lesson is about. As we pick up where Pastor Jerry left off, he'll come back next week and pick up, this is part 8. He'll do the 8B part, which I'll tell you about as we get through this. I hope that you're blessed today, and I'm honored to be in this position to have Pastor Jerry call on me and to stand in this pulpit for Seminole Community Church. I wanted to tell you also at the beginning that I'm at my 1-year anniversary of heart surgery. I had one of them triple bypass things. Yes, I'm excited about it. That's that place where they take a Black & Decker chainsaw and cut you right up the middle, take your heart out and play with it. You know, and you get back and you sit in a good chair and you have good food from people in the church. Your pastor visits every day you're in the hospital. And I was already loving Pastor Jerry. I had the privilege of working with Kristen at the office, and so I knew the family and was already loving on them. But he served in a way that I had not seen. And I was 60-something when I saw the way that he served and the way he cared. And that'll do more to cement me to a place than anything. Because sure, what you teach and how you teach it matters, but it's really how you live it out as a leader, how you practice it. And what you do with it, you don't see what the man does, what this pastor does. You can't see it all. I don't know how he does it all, so I'm really glad he's taking a little time and resting and getting quiet before the Lord. So I know they will. Pray for him. Pray for his strength. As he comes back, we'll be facing a lot of big things that need to be done, and I pray that you'll keep in mind always. You should always be praying for your pastors, your elders, all the pastors in this place. Work hard. I can see it, and I know it, and I know what it takes, and I hope you do too. So we're in the middle of a Daniel study. We're studying the book of Daniel. We came a long way last week. We kind of left Daniel at this place where, he's got to make a decision. and there's some people after him. Let's back up just a little bit and talk about how the tests of life were really a part of Daniel's life. He had 8 of them that we've studied. This is the 8th. But I'm going to say to you that Daniel had a lot more experiences than we know about. The Bible doesn't record everything. It gives us the high points, the points that we're to learn from. But Daniel went through some experiences, saints, that are not recorded, but we can see it by the way people treat him. We'll see it by the fact that he's known for who he is, not just because he passed 7 tests and now the 8th, and he lived in a way that was observable. He was a man that did what he said he was going to do. I want to address that today. I want us to get to that because ultimately I think it's where we all want to be. I don't want to be two-faced. I don't want to have 2 lives or 6 lives or a cat lie. I just want to kind of be always the same. It's easier. I don't have to have as good a memory. And if I can live in a way that is what the Lord wants and I can please him, that maybe is a life well lived, just to please the Lord. I hope that is. I hope that's something that you agree with and that you see. So we know that as we look at him now, today, he's 82. He's going to have the best years of his life between 82 and 85. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being here at 82 and then being able to be significant from 82 to 85. I have no desire whatsoever right now to retire. I can't find one word about it in the Bible, so I don't need to be concerned with it. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't covet it. It's not thinking I'm not looking forward to it. I just want to be significant in the kingdom, to do something, to have people that need my help, and to be there. And everyone's got his own thing, so it's okay. But that's for me, and I think it was for Daniel. And it was the kind of leader he was. Guys, this is still getting a lot of reverb, echo. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm holding the mic wrong. I'll try this. Okay, it's going to be that kind of crowd. 9 o'clock laughed at me. Unfortunately, they pointed while they laughed, but I'll get over that too. Huh? Okay, good. So he went through 3 or 4 tests as a teenager. We see him at bookends of his life, when he was young, when he's old, and how he was living. We see the same guy doing the same things. Would that could be us, where we live what we did when we were young, and we're living the same way when we're old. Maybe better, maybe wiser, more knowledgeable. We'll get to that. 20s and 30s. Pastor Jerry's led us through several studies of that part of his life. In his later years, we saw some tests. And now we're going to sneak up on the fact that he survived at least 3 kings, 2 empires, the Babylonian Empire and now the Persian Empire. He was successful in all of those. He was such a good leader that all the new kings, wanted him on his staff. That's unusual. Know that Daniel was a Jewish man. Here the Medes and Persians say, come on, you're staying here with us. Anytime we've got corporate takeovers or changes in the business, it's very unusual to keep any of the leftovers. If you're on the former cabinet in leadership, you probably don't go into the new team. Some do, some don't. For the most part, they don't. It's very unusual, certainly in the spiritual sense, in a world leadership role. How many Republicans stick around for Democratic reign and Democrats for Republicans? It's just rare. But this leader had a very high position, not just somewhere on the staff. He was 3rd highest position. He was significant. He lived it in a way that people saw him. See, what happens a lot of times is people can see something about us that they can't put their hands on. They can't quite figure out what makes a spiritual leader a leader. They just know they're different. And they lead with integrity, and I'm going to get to that. But there are some things that they do that makes them who they are. And people want to be around them until they find out that they're people of faith, maybe, and then they don't like so much of that. We're going to see that today, too. So we're looking at an odd fellow in a lot of ways. Odd in that he was accepted by all of those who knew him. That's odd. The people didn't know what to do with him. And leadership really came to the place where they didn't like him. The wannabe leaders, the wannabe super leaders didn't know what to do with him, so they plotted against him. We're going to see that today. He outlasted 2 big kings, Nebuchadnezzar and his grandson Belshazzar. See, I didn't do that. Y'all saw me? I didn't do anything. It just keeps me awake. It's right. Maybe they put these sound effects in because I am so boring, that they'll help you to stay awake. That'll help. Anyway, he's got a new boss. His name is Darius. But, Darius killed the guy that Belshazzar. Daniel looked at him and said, "This is your last day, dude." And he had promoted him, put him up, and it only lasted one day because he was killed by that night. Darius is the king that took over. So we're going to study a lot about the relationship between Darius and Daniel. We'll get a good start on it. Pastor Jerry will wrap it up. But Cyrus the Persian, Cyrus the Great, was the biggest king. He was going to serve Darius. You'll read a lot about Cyrus. It's in modern-day prophecy now. The effect that Cyrus had on his people is often referred to in modern-day leadership, and you can read about it and study it and see that it's there. But again, understand this as we pick up the verse from last week, Daniel 5, verse 30. He was the third highest leader, and look what the verse says about him, Daniel 5:30. The very night Belshazzar, the Babylonian king, was killed, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. We had that last week, so we're up to speed. We're right where Pastor Jerry left us, and we look at channel. Let's turn to channel 6. It might be chapter 6, but you find it. He was promoted again with Darius. He had another promotion. So this is a Mede and Persian. It's not a normal thing to go promote a Jewish person. This is really a cacophony. It just doesn't happen. But it happened. It was God's will. God was in this. God promoted him. I sure want to be living a life that God makes the way for me. That I don't fight for promotions. I don't look for them. I don't step on people. That let God do all that work. Let God be the person that sets us up and gives us favor so that we come into a place where we're promoted. I can't do it. God wants me to be dependent on him and independent of me. I need to stop depending on me and start depending on him. Does that sound right? The more I depend on him, the more I can expect promotion. Let's just use the word, things are going right. Things go better at home. Things go better wherever I go. Things go better at work. It goes better at church. I like everything at church. Wouldn't it be great to come to a church for 4 consecutive Sundays and like everything? You just love the way church is going. You love your church. You don't have anything to fix. You don't have any opinions about anything. You just love what's going on. There's a lot of difference between opinion and experience. And what I look at as an experienced person is so many good things that go on here in our church. That's why I'm here. But in today's lesson, as we look at chapter 6, we're going to see 3 things that Daniel is known for that really caused him to be promoted. I want to add to it a little bit, not add to the word, but into our understanding. As a teacher, I want to try to reveal a couple of things to you that'll point to how we can live it today. Yes, it's a study out of the Old Testament, but it's very much lived in New Testament leaders. We'll see it all the time. And we're going to see it in some of the most successful leaders today in church. Okay, so his professional competency made him stand out. Let's start with that thought about competency. I like that word. His professional competence, who he was. Let's use an analogy here. Let's go to work in a kitchen, in a restaurant kitchen. The first thing you're going to have is a chef. In order for the chef to be a leader, he probably needs to be able to cook. In order for anyone to follow him, he's probably got to be able to put a menu together, cook some stuff, and it tastes good and people want to eat it again. In order for his staff to follow him, he's going to have to be known for his competency as a chef. Is that reasonable? He's got to be pretty good at what he does. So I think leadership starts with competency. We develop a skill set. We grow up in our skills. We get better and better. The competency comes from learning, continual study. Daniel's a good lifelong learner. I want to be a lifelong learner. I want to learn all my life. I want to be like Mark Twain or Ben Franklin was known to have been studying on his deathbed. He had books open. A foreign language book was open on his bed. Why do you want to study a foreign language at the end of life? He did. He was a lifelong learner. Good for him. He surely wasn't going to be tested in it. Didn't have to pass a French 3 class. He just did okay on his own, studying and learning. That's kind of cool. I like that. But that's what we're looking at here with Daniel. Daniel was known as a learner. So guess what happened with that? He became wiser. He grew in wisdom because he learned so much. So I know that between years 85 and 87, he grew in wisdom. because he continued to grow year after year. That's one thing I can count on, is that between those years, 85 and 87, I'm going to become wiser, as I am hopefully between now and 70, and between then and whenever. That wisdom is going to grow because I'm going to continue to learn, continue to have experiences, continue to stay soft as clay and be moldable by him, and not get all strong and rock hard in my independence because I got it all figured out. That's not what God wants from me. He wants me to stay soft, needy, dependent upon him so he can grow me for what comes next. I don't know what's next. He does. I don't know what challenges I'm going to face. I don't know what kind of business opportunity is going to come in front of me. But I know that God knows, and he's going to prepare me. Doesn't that give you faith to know that whatever he's going to take you through, you'll be ready, and you're going to succeed because God said it to be so. He wouldn't put you in there. He wouldn't gift you, put you in and say, just kidding, have a failure. He's going to put you in a position that you've been prepared for a time such as this. You've learned, you've grown, you've gotten to this new place. God put you there, whatever it is. Could be at home. I use the analogy sometimes about my desire to play football, which would never happen, but a bigger desire was to play for the St. Louis Cardinals. I wanted to play second base for the St. Louis Cardinals. It wasn't any great big thing. Have you seen who plays second base for the St. Louis Cardinals? I mean, I feel like I could go in there and do it. Little old for it, but I might catch one or two balls, which is an improvement. Or was I thinking about the Dolphins receivers? I'm not sure which that was. He's not here, so I'm not going to get hit. You're here. There's another Dolphins fan. That's okay. We'll pray for you. You're going to need a lot of prayer this year. But what if I, wanted to be a coach of a sports team, which I've always wanted to since I was a little bit. Wanted to coach, I wanted to be a manager of a baseball team, a coach, the head guy in baseball, because I thought I knew a little bit about baseball. I knew that I could go into a locker room and give that locker room speech. I know I could get everybody fired up. I could get up on a bench and just get them all fired up. Throw a trash can across the room, get everybody all excited and want to go out there and play ball and win. Unfortunately, I've never played professional baseball or semi-pro or even college ball. So it's very unlikely that I'm going to go out on that field and anybody's going to follow me. Those players, by the time we're at the third inning, they've already left. They ran off the field and said, we're not going to play with this guy. He didn't know anything about baseball. We're not following him. That's kind of a thing about leadership, isn't it? Every now and then, you got to turn around and see if anybody's following you. As a baseball coach, as a football coach, as a kitchen chef, I've got to turn around and look and see if anybody's still back there. A lot of leaders find out nobody's following them because of this one factor, this first factor that matters a lot. It's a whole lot. Competency. How do you get competent? It's in our prayer life. It's in our Bible study. It's in what God gives us. Where I'm weak, he becomes strong. Where I'm strong, strongholds are torn down. Where I really think I'm all that. College students used to say that. You think you're all that. I'm not sure what it meant, but I didn't think I was all that. I knew I was nothing without God. And that's not a thing that you say on a platform. You say it in life. You say it when you wake up in the morning. Lord, I'm going to open the door to that business. I sure hope you go before me. And I'm going to hold the door wide open so all the angels that you've assigned to me can get in. I don't want to leave any of them out for them to get a headache coming through the door. I'm just going to leave it open and let them come in easy. Because I need the angels from heaven with me at work. Don't you? Is anybody here? I believe they're with me. I believe that God sends a protective angel to guard over me and to help me, to reveal things to me, to know things. That's not all spiritual. It's just what the Bible promises me. And I'm going to claim that promise. I'm going to know that I work with help, that I've got a lot of help in work. So competency comes because I want to be competent, that I'm going to work at it. I'm going to model the work. Leaders learn. Leaders are learners. Learners are leaders. It just kind of works that way. Second reason that he was promoted. His personal character made him stand out. His personal character made him stand out. Did I do that again? Skip 6:3? I did. I want to read that verse to you. Can I do that? Can we go backwards, guys? Here it is. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. Look, let's just stop right there. He proved himself more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. It was just a matter of fact. Not in the right place at the right time, not lucky, not born with it, had the right last name, was good looking, had all the right clothes. He just was capable. Not only capable, but more capable than all the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. Because of his personality, because of politics, or because of his great skill set, his ability. Now I'm ready for you to look at with me at his personal character. Let's put that verse back up, guys. His personal character. Here it is. Then the other administrators and high officers began searching for some fault in the way Daniel was handling government affairs. Isn't that so normal? You get a leader doing real good and everybody wants to pull them down. Somebody doing well. It doesn't matter what area they're doing well in. People try to find something wrong with them. But look at this statement. They began searching for some fault, just anything. I call them sin pickers. They're just looking for something. Daniel was handling government affairs, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. My goodness, all we have to do is turn on any news program or any internet site of the news, and we're going to find out what's wrong with everybody. You know, it depends on where you click and what you want to read about, but you'll find out what's wrong with somebody. I would love to open up something to read or listen to a newscast where they're talking about who's good at something. It's just so much better. You know, it doesn't have to be a lie, but find what's good and talk about it. Those are called words of life. A lot better than words of death. But in leadership, this is common. He was always responsible and completely trustworthy. That's a great big word, that always word. Can I say to you that I can't pass that test? That everything that I do is not the best. I'm open to criticism. Anybody that leads for long and has a lot of people and talks all day like I do is probably going to run their mouth in the wrong place at the wrong time and say something maybe that would cause people to not like you very much. Now, I know that doesn't happen to anybody else in here, that you could pass that test that Daniel passed, but it's a tough one. It's hard we want to live above reproach, but we know that we do it through the grace of God. And I do it with the idea that I start here, recognize with where it didn't go well, recognize that I failed today, that this event, that meeting I had with Billy Bob didn't go so well. I could have handled it better. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Would you think about that expression a lot? Think about those words when you find yourself feeling bad about the way something went. Do you have that response? That's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. You look back on the day or you look back on the hour ago and are frustrated with yourself and you're saying over and over again, that's not who I am. How did I do that? How did that happen? What caused me to roll the jack in the box and jack popped out? You know, I want to be right. Not like the waiter that carries water across the room and he gets bumped. What comes out of the glass is what's in it. What comes out of us when we're bumped is what's in us. It's our essence. It's the spiritual being that we want to be is what comes out when things aren't going so hot. I like to tell my team, as a leader, I want to be at my very best when they're at their worst. When they're having a bad day, I want to have the best day that God could give me. I want to lead in such a way that no one gets beat up, no one gets abused or accosted, but they get loved on. And they get told there's a better day coming, there's a better way through this, we'll figure it out. There's a book just came out called It's Figure Outable. Haven't read it. I feel like I know the title, so I know what's in it. It's Figure Outable. Okay, I'm going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. We don't have to die here. We don't have to end our relationship here. We can move on. Let's figure it out. Let's work together on it, especially when we know that we have the power of spiritual leadership working within us. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead dwells in you, dwells in me. That's how we're going to get through it. We're going to figure it out because the Spirit of God is going to help us. That God's going to lead us to that answer so that we can do a good job where we are and how we're doing it. Can I say to you, I think that's what Daniel was known for. He just figured stuff out because he studied a lot. He learned a lot. He knew who he was. He knew what he would do. More importantly, for all of us, I know what I won't do. I like to start my day thinking about what I won't do. That's a lot better than trying to be something I'm not. I just know what I won't do. And being strong there, being consistent in what I will not allow, what I won't hang around, what I won't listen to, what I won't laugh at, what I won't look at on my computer. What I won't do is by choice. I won't. We're going to see that in Daniel, what he wouldn't do. And in getting to what you would do becomes a little easier when you know what you won't do. Perhaps. I'll let you think about that, obviously. So these guys just couldn't take the fact that they couldn't find anything wrong with him. So you know what they're going to have to do about it. They had to find out a way to trip him up because they couldn't stand the fact that he had success, that he was who he was. Because that's pretty common even for those of us that try to live as a Christian, for people to look at us and say, oh, but I thought you were a Christian. You know, you sneezed once, they say, oh, I didn't think Christians sneezed. Right. I know you've never heard that one either. I didn't think that Christians did that. If you don't do things exactly as they think you do, you probably hear about it. That's sort of what's going on here. They want to show him up. They want to get him disqualified. And they're going to work at it. I don't think the world understands faith. They look at us and don't understand what we believe. They see something in us and they want that. They want to live a life like they're seeing you live. I want that. I want that for my life. Why is it you seem to be at peace in the middle of a turmoil? What is it in you that keeps you full of joy when everybody else is not? Or everybody else is worried about a recession and you don't live under worldly economics, you work under kingdom economics. My God will provide all my needs. That's a kingdom economics thought. No thought about recession or trade laws or anything that's going on and mixing up the economy. I just know that God will supply all my needs. Good enough. The world doesn't understand that. They want me to get all discombobulated because of the economy. I don't want to buy that. So they couldn't find anything wrong with him, so they built a trap. The satraps built a trap. That's good, isn't it? Third reason he was promoted is that his public commitment to God, think about it. It made him stand out. You want to stand out today? Be who you are in public the same every day. Not by fake, but just by what's in you. We bump you, it comes out. You're in joy, it comes out. You're in sadness, it comes out. The fruits of the Spirit are you. When we talk about a productive home, we talk about people who leave the home and the fruits of the Spirit go with them. Children show the fruit of the Spirit. The adults, the father, the mother, we begin to show what's in us. As we get bumped, as we go through joy, we begin to show it. That's a productive home. When we go out and we live the life that we talk about, that we want. We're not perfect. I've just asked people all along, with me as a leader, look at my whole body of work. Don't cut that thin slice of oopses. You want to focus on that, here I am, you'll find it. Just hang around for a couple minutes, you'll see something that you don't like and that you don't think is probably the way I should do. But if you'll look at the whole body of work, the entire way that we live our life, does it fall under the principles that God teaches? Does it look like somebody that's read a couple of Beatitudes and is trying to live the Sermon on the Mount? Trying, with the help of God, to live it. The whole body of work, when you look at everyone and you consider the whole, it's going to be better for you. You're going to think better. But more than that, everybody will think better. These guys didn't want to see his whole body of work. They wanted to point out his flaws, and they wanted to trap him and disqualify him and hopefully get him killed. Did I do the verse yet? I did. Daniel 6:5. Here it is. So they concluded. Here's smart guys. They're going to draw conclusions. You ready? Our only chance at finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in connection with the rules of his religion. So let's trap him by the religious rule that he follows. And we know it's not a rule, it's a heart. I want to pray. That's what Daniel wanted to do. They're going to use that to catch him, and then they're going to find out that it didn't matter, because that's who he was. Bump me, give me a law, it's okay, I'm still going to be who I am, perhaps. Next, never mind. Here we go, it goes on, 6:6-9. So the administrators and high officers, here's their plot. You ready? They went to the king and they said, long live King Darius. Kiss ups. just having a real good time blowing smoke at the king, right? Long live the king. We're all in agreement. That's new. You come to me with this statement, man, I want to celebrate this. Where's the grapes? We're going to celebrate because we are all in agreement. Haven't seen that before. We administrators, officials, they even talk kind of official. Do you hear them? We administrators, officials, high officers, advisors, and governors, that the king should make a law. You want to do that, king? Come on. Let's make a law. Won't that be fun? We're going to make a law that will be strictly enforced. Give orders that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you. Let's stop right there. King, he had a little ego. We're going to have people pray to you for 30 days, and they can't pray to no one else. You see where they're going to get Daniel? Because they've watched him. They've watched him praying in his window. They've seen him over his life be a praying Jewish faith leader. They saw him, never missing that opportunity. At those 3 times a day, he wasn't going to miss prayer. So they make a rule that they thought he wouldn't do. No one could pray to anything divine or human except to you, your majesty. If they do, they're going to be thrown into the den of lions. Now, my friend Daniel knew about the den of lions because, they're well fed. Because that's what, if king got mad at somebody, they said, throw them to the lions. Lion food, got to keep the lions healthy. That's what went on. That shakes me up a little bit. So they had a pretty good idea of what would happen if he didn't obey whatever this rule was. Another thing you need to know about the Medes and Persian law is once a king passed a law, he couldn't change his mind. He couldn't go back and repeal it, reject it. He couldn't turn it around. It was the law. And now, Your Majesty, issue and sign this law. Once he signed it, it was no longer a decree or a good idea, or if you feel like it, follow this law. It was the law. Cannot be changed, an official law of the Medes and Persians that cannot be revoked. So King Darius signed the law. Now everybody's got to do it. Now they've got to come along and understand that this is the law of the land. Can't pray to anyone else. So we come to the place that how does this godly man deal with this new law? How do you wake up in the morning and know that you're going to pray 3 times a day and know that you can't? Well, let's do what good old Americans would do. Look at it and say, let's look at the options here. Let's get all the options out on the table and see how we could possibly handle it. And then consider how he made his decision and what his answer was. So first option, accept the law and maybe fake pray. Go to the stone and fake praying to the new king, to Darius. Yay, I'm praying to Darius. But in my heart, I'm really praying to my God, to God, the God. God knows my heart. He knows I want to be praying to him, but there's this law, so I'm just going to trust God to know my heart. You ever heard that before? That people want to justify their actions by God knows my heart. Well, out of the abundance of the mouth, the heart speaks. Our actions speak what's in our heart. It's not 2 different things. It's one. We speak and we act out of the heart. It's what's in us. It's when we're bumped, it's what comes out. Second point that we could do. This is good. I've seen this done before. We can picket the palace. That'll be fun. Let's get signs. Maybe we can get up a parade and an event and get people all fired up, and we can march on the palace. Get up to that Persian palace and carry our picket signs and say, decree, we're not going to do it. We're going to pray to our God. We're not going to pray to you. Because they're going to be lion food because this is a law. That's not a good option. Option 3, private appeal to the king. I like this one. I like to go in private to the king and speak with him and say, look, come on, king. You know me. You know I'm Jewish. You know I'm going to have my prayer time. I must pray. This is not optional for me. I'm going to pray. And the king would say to him, sorry, kid, I've already signed it, and, it's the law. Can't do anything for you. Kid being 82, he's 20 years older than the king. It wasn't going to work for him. Option 4, don't pray to your God for 30 days. That doesn't seem like such a big deal. Don't pray for 30 days. A lot of us have beat that land record pretty regularly. Might have been 30 days. When was your last prayer? Let me see. 84 was a tough year. remember that heart surgery last year. I was praying lots. Have I gone 30 days without prayer? I don't know. Not in a while. Because most of us pray without ceasing now. We're going to an attitude of prayer throughout the day. So I don't know, but I would not think that that would be a bad option. We're analyzing it like in a committee meeting, and we're all trying to decide what the right option is. Some of the committee said, we can do that. What's 30 days among buddies? We'll get through the 30 and we'll be okay. Do you see the danger where we're headed? Option 5, this is a good one. They can just keep praying to God. Break the law, but just do it in secret. Get in your prayer closet. Don't stand by an open window. Go get in your prayer closet, close the door, and pray. Just break the law, but make sure no one sees you. I like that option. It's reasonable. It's against the law, but you're behind closed doors. And nobody's seeing you. You can open up your laptop and look at those pictures and do those things. Who's it hurting? You can do what you do. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's just you and your computer and your thoughts. It might change the generation that comes after you and the generation after that because it'll change your DNA. It'll change how you're made, but what's the effect? Not praying for 30 days, what's the effect? Praying and breaking the law, what's the effect? Again, it's for us to consider, not to be told how to think. But here's option 6. And it's the option I think that leaders demonstrate most clearly, and that's this option of integrity. Integrity is I do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. I know who I am, and I am who I say I am. I live it out. And that's what he was known as, saints. He was known as someone who prayed. So if he stopped praying, he would not have his integrity. He would lose who he is. And that's all that really, they'd have been happy with that option. All those leaders would have been happy if he disqualified himself by not doing what he always did. That would be the biggest loss. You might go to the cave, you might see a little den of lions, but that would almost be better than having the entire population know that you were a fake, that you really could stand down for 30 days and be DQ'd in that way. How could he lead again? How could he be disqualified by such a simple thing? At work, we see people do things that are not them. Feel like they have to. They justify. They rationalize. God knows my heart. I've got to do it because the boss said to do it. We come to these hard places where it's really hard to make those kinds of decisions. But saints, I want to say to you, there is a right answer to everything. There's a higher place. There's a higher path. It's hard. He knew the consequences. He could make a list of all the negative things that are going to happen if he followed that last option. If he lived with integrity, he had a pretty good mindset of what was going to happen to him. He chose a road less traveled. Look at 6:10. Have I had it up yet? When Daniel learned that the law had been signed, let's stop here. He learned, he heard that the law was signed. What did he do? He went home, knelt down as usual. That's integrity. You do what you usually do. This is who you are. You can't help yourself. That's what you do. This is when you say to someone, that's not who I am, it's not who I want to be, this is who I am. I know what I won't do, this is what I will do. It's so easy, right? He went home, knelt down as usual in his upstairs room with he didn't even close the windows. I assume he could have put a sash over it, closed them up, could have done his thing in secret, but he did what he always did. He prayed. Look, back up. I didn't finish it, brother. Look, with its windows open toward Jerusalem. Hello there. I'm going to pray like I always pray. Watch if you want to watch, don't watch, but I'm going to do what I always do. Nothing's changed today. Just today. The law just passed. He didn't think about it. He didn't have that options meeting. He probably could have made a list like we just did, like I did. Could have made this list and brought it to you. He would have just did what he did. He prayed 3 times a day, just he had always done, giving thanks to his God. Not, God, why'd you make this happen? Why'd you pass this law? You've made my life so difficult. What am I going to do? I'm old. I'm going to be lion food here today. My battery closed there. One way to shut up a preacher. I must be getting close to the end. I'm easy to quiet down. Just take my mic away. He kept praying. He kept doing what he did. What's going to happen to him? Well, I think a lot of that's going to be found out as we go forward. But I've got to give you a real quick summary of why I know that he was unafraid. I'm going to do it real fast just because of time. Daniel was unafraid. Number one, he remembered God was faithful in the past. Let's start there, saints. How has God been with you in times of trouble? Think about that. You're going to do right? Okay, what's going to happen? Don't worry about the consequence. Try real hard to be who you've always been. Keep your integrity in check, if only for the mirror. If the mirror is the only one that knows that you've kept your integrity strong, that's gooder. That's really special because you know it. And because that's who you are. That when we bump you, that's what comes out. Will you stand publicly for God? He stood publicly. He stood right at his window and prayed like he always prayed, in public. They all could hear him. Pray his Jewish prayers. They could hear him. Secondly, he had a conversation with God. That conversation, look at the verse 6:10. He prayed 3 times a day. It said he did. Just that he had always done. He prayed what he'd always done. It stayed the same. The secret of standing strong is praying often. See, I think we can do better than 3 times a day. I think we can do what Paul suggested. He said, pray without ceasing. When you go through, just take God with you in your conversation. As you're walking down the hall, as you're driving in the car, just don't do that all formal, but God. You don't have to get all affected. Just talk. Lay it out. Speak to him very clearly. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm thinking about. Lord, help me with this. I pray that a lot all day long because I need so much help. Don't we all? Help me be real. Just, Lord, help me be real today. Help me to deal with each person that I work with honesty, with integrity, with truth. Let me love on people. Let me speak words of life, no words of death. When you talk as much as I do, you have to pray, Lord, let me give words of life. May I nurture my team with words of life. I can't pray anything else yet, in addition to. Number 3, he knew the rewards were greater than the risk. Pretty good, clear understanding what the risk was. He wanted the rewards of being a man of integrity. Once you've lost that, you've kind of lost it. Now we know through the grace of the cross that it can be restored, that we can repent and be like it never happened. We live in an age now, we live in a time, thanks to the cross, where we have grace, and his grace is sufficient. That excites me. We have a choice. We can obey God or obey man. Listen to me. This morning as you sit here, you have a choice. Obey God or obey man. If man asks you to do something that's against what God wants you to do, you've got a choice of integrity, a choice to make. It's hard. And any person who loves the Lord will know that that choice is difficult. But when you know why you know what you know and what you believe, it's going to make things so easy for you. He threw open the window, prayed in public. He didn't think of the negative consequences. He moved on. For us, listen to me. This is why we came to church this morning. We serve a risen king. We're not serving Darius. We serve a risen king on the throne, ruling now, King of kings, Lord of lords. That's who we serve. So much, we have a comforter too that was sent to us to empower us, to make things better. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. That I've got a better opportunity to live today, to do what God asked me to do because he helps me. I think a lot more than Daniel was helped. Daniel didn't have the same kind of comforter we have. He had the law. We have the comforter. We have an opportunity to pray to the Lord, pray to the King of Kings, and ask that he impact the way that I live. Because I want it so much. I want to live the way God wants me to live. That's what drives me. That's the thing that's going to make the most difference. So what did he do, and what was the effects? Well, saints, you're going to have to come back next week. Pastor Jerry will show you what happens. It might be a little different than you thought or what you were taught in Sunday school class with those little felt objects that moved around on that board. I think you might see the lion's den in a different way this time. I'll give you a clue. It's on the cover of your program. What he did and what happened next. You'll know. You know. But we end with this. We walk out and into our work week, at work with God, knowing that Jesus is on the throne, that he's the King of kings. He's my King. Make it personal. Jesus is my King, master of everything. Now unto him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond all that I could ask or imagine at work, according to the power that works within me, according to the power that works within me that's God-given. To him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus, now and forevermore. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Steve.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. That was a really good message. Hearing it twice is just, it's so good how that truth of that we can take that and apply in our workplace, in our school, when we're just out and about, just being people of integrity. And I just want to take 1 second, before our ushers come up, I just wanted to just brag a second on some of the leaders here at our church. I mean, our staff, they're all amazing. But thinking about Daniel, I know now in the story when we're looking at Daniel, he's we give an offering. Again, if this is your first time here, or just maybe you've only been here a few times, don't feel any obligation at all to give. We're just glad that you're here. One day maybe this Summer Church is your church, then you can give and help the ministry. But just want to say thank you that you're here. Let's go ahead and bless the offering. Father, I just want to thank you so much for this morning. Thank you that we could hear this message, and we just pray that you'll help us to take it and not just hear it, but apply it. It does us no good just to hear it. Help us to be people of integrity wherever we are, to stand out in such a way that people may look at us funny, but then people may say, what do you have that I don't? So that we can point them to you, Jesus. And we thank you for that. Thank you for these gifts, these tithes and offerings. I pray that you'll use them, bless them, use them to grow a great church for your glory. I also pray for those maybe that are struggling financially right now, God, that you will provide for them in a special way. If they need employment, that you will provide that for them, or whatever it may be. So we just give you all the thanks and all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. As that's coming by, you can also put your prayer requests in there. If you are able to give through Kindred, which is a giving app, you can do that online if you want, whatever way to make it easiest for you. Well, again, so glad that you are here with us. As Dr. Steve said, Pastor Jerry will be back next week, and he'll finish up that message. And just want to invite you out back after the service. We have a pavilion. There's coffee, donuts. We can all hang out together and high five, and I'll learn your name, hopefully, maybe something like that. So just hope you have a great day. Let's finish it out with a song.
Would you go ahead and stand and sing with us?
Strongholds bowing to the Savior, resurrection